Well, everyone, the final week of the college football regular season is officially in the books. In today's first video of the day, we, of course, are going to be reacting to the games that were played this weekend. It's been a minute since we have posted here on the channel. Been super busy. However, all that aside, we have some games to react to today. So that is what we're going to do in this first video of the day. If you have not already, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day, starting with going forward. We probably will have one video a week after the college football season wraps up. We'll talk about the playoffs throughout the videos, but however, one video a week is probably what we're going to scale back to, just because this season, or this college football season, has been nothing but content going forward as well. So, SEC reactions today. We moved that one from Friday. We're going to do those on Monday, and then we'll do the same schedule like normal throughout the week. We'll talk SEC championship game in a separate video coming to the channel later today as well. Stick around for that one if you're interested in that one as well. So, without further ado, let's react to Rivalry Week here on the channel. Alright, so kicking us off on Friday, of course, we had a couple of the SEC games that were supposed to be played. Usually the Egg Bowl is on Thursday, but that got moved due to TV deals on Friday. Ole Miss hosting Mississippi State. Now, Jackson Dart was not the better quarterback in this game, throwing a couple of interceptions. He did struggle a little bit in this game for that Ole Miss offense. However, if you're looking at it from that perspective, it was the defense that got the job done for Ole Miss. Obviously, shutting out Mississippi State all the way from quarter 2, 3 to 4. Obviously, letting up a couple points in the first quarter, but once they got going, the defense got going. Obviously, Jackson Dart again did struggle a little bit. Mississippi State led all categories in receiving, touchdowns, and rushing yardage as well, with the quarterback Van Buren throwing 17 of 32, 280, and 1 touchdown. I feel like he's going to be a very, very solid quarterback for the Bulldogs. They just got to get some pieces around him and start recruiting a little bit better if they want to compete in a really, really tough conference in the SEC, which is why they were dead last in the conference this year. Even Auburn did a little bit better than they did. However, when it comes to this game, the future is bright for Mississippi State. Now, Ole Miss, on the other hand, they got to have some help. They kind of had a little bit of help with South Carolina beating Clemson, but again, I believe they beat South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, or they didn't even play them. Ole Miss is 9-3, South Carolina is 9-3, and Alabama is 9-3 as well. I'm interested to see what the committee is going to do with those 3 teams right there, which team they're going to put in. If you're asking me personally, I think South Carolina should go over Ole Miss and Alabama, just because they have been playing the better team recently as of late. Lenore Sellers has been playing really well, which we'll talk about South Carolina here in a second, but they're the better team out of those 3, if you are asking me as well. However, Ole Miss got one more chance to put some emphasis on why they should be in the college football playoff as well. Now, taking a look at Georgia hosting Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, this game, 8 overtimes, absolutely wild. Most definitely going to be the game of the year, if you are asking me. However, the referees, obviously, that has been a huge issue when it comes to SEC play this year, is officiating in the conference. We saw it a little bit in the Iron Bowl on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a second. We have seen it in weeks prior as well. Georgia, Texas being a great example of that. We'll talk about that game in the SEC championship coming up. However, officiating is kind of what screwed Georgia Tech over. Haynes Keene played really well, 26 of 36, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns on the day. He also had a few rushing touchdowns as well. Singleton, the wide receiver for Georgia Tech, had about 86 yards or so of offense as well. And Carson Beck did struggle a little bit. Now, he did get banged up, I believe, in what was it, that first or second overtime period. However, that Georgia found a way to win. Good teams always find a way to win, and they got the job done with a little bit of help from the referees, in my opinion. All right, let's go to Louisville and Kentucky. Louisville absolutely dominating Kentucky. Kentucky 4-8 on the season. They finished, obviously, with a 4-8 record, and they got some work to do. Mark Stoops has got to turn that thing around over there back once again. Louisville was just the better team by far in this one. They had offense. They had a lot of offense. Stroud, the quarterback, obviously did not throw for a bunch, but he didn't need to. The running back played really well, almost 200 yards of offense, 2 touchdowns on the day, and of course, I believe a couple of defensive interceptions on that Kentucky offense as well. They've got to get better when it comes to throwing the ball. They've got to find a quarterback. Vandergriff is not it for the Kentucky Wildcats, and they got to find a quarterback. That is for sure on that one. Now, let's go to South Carolina and Clemson in Death Valley. Obviously, South Carolina getting the quote-unquote upset win, but it was a fairly evenly matched game. Cade Cumnick, 260 yards, 1 interception, which I believe did kind of cost them the game. Lenore Sellers had an amazing game rushing as well. 165 yards of offense, 2 total touchdowns on the day as well. The go-ahead touchdown late in the fourth quarter to give them the lead. Defense holding strong and shutting out Clemson when it comes to points scored in that fourth quarter, I believe, is what got the job done. South Carolina's hot right now. They deserve to be in the playoffs over, say, an Alabama or an Ole Miss. Lenore Sellers looks to be the future. Not shocked as to why Landon Duckworth decommitted from South Carolina. He was out of Jackson, Alabama, about an hour or so here from where I live. But he decommitted from South Carolina. I'm not shocked as to why Lenore Sellers looks to be that guy for the Gamecocks going forward. And very interested to see what the committee's going to do with this South Carolina Gamecocks team. Now, a team that is definitely locked in the college football playoff is the Tennessee Volunteers with the win against Vanderbilt in the first and second quarters. Kind of looked choppy a little bit. Mandy coming back, scoring 17 unanswered in that second quarter. 9 points scored in the third. And then, of course, didn't need to do much in the fourth quarter because it was all said and done as Tennessee, Nico Iamaleava, secure a playoff spot if you're asking me. Now, Vandy is a very, very tough team to go into and beat. But they did it. Nico, 257 yards, 4 total touchdown passes on the day. Dylan Sampson, I believe, the running back for Tennessee, 178 yards. And Dante Thornton had a couple of touchdowns on the day as well for the Tennessee Volunteers as they get the job done on the road in Nashville and secure all but a playoff spot in the college football playoff. Now, let's go to Arkansas, Missouri. A very, very snowy game, if you're asking me. Missouri, they probably won't be in the college football playoff conversation. Yes, they're 9-3 as well, but there are a lot better teams who are 9-3. Example, South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss. So, they're most definitely probably not going to get in the playoffs. They struggled with Arkansas a little bit in that first half. It was kind of a rocky start, but in the fourth quarter, they put it on them and ultimately got the job done for the Missouri Tigers. And the running back for Mizzou, Carroll, had about a couple of touchdowns on the day as well. Green, the quarterback for Arkansas, was 21 of 35, 230 yards on the day as well. However, it wasn't enough, and Missouri gets the job done at home in the snow. That's why we love college football, snow games as well. Now, the other 2:30 game that we'll talk about is, of course, the Iron Bowl. Peyton Thorne's career at Auburn is over. I know a lot of Auburn fans are very, very happy about that. However, he played really, really solid, if not for the turnovers. Again, the offensive turnovers and the play calling on Hugh Freeze's part, that's not on him, but he played really well. 24 of 41, 300 yards passing, 1 touchdown pass on the day to Cam Coleman, which was really great. Got the ball to Keandre a little bit, but when it got down to it in the red zone, you've got to hand the ball off to Jarquez. I think that is where a lot of the frustration from the offense came, and I think that's where a lot of the fans are upset as well. Jalen Milroe, 3 rushing touchdowns. It's hard to contain that, but he also had a couple of fumbles on the day as well. Ryan Williams fumbled the ball. The turnovers for Alabama also did not help, as well as the final score ended up being 28-14. Auburn missing a bowl game for the second time in, I believe, a few years or so. Obviously, there's a lot we got to get. We got to get a transfer quarterback, got to get an offensive coordinator. We'll talk about all of that coming up shortly. We'll talk about what Auburn needs to do. But Bama gets the job done, 28-14 in the Iron Bowl, 9-3, 5-3 overall in the SEC, and they could go to the college football playoff in that matchup. Now, let's talk the nightcap. LSU hosting Oklahoma. This game, Garrett Nussmeier played really, really solid. One of his best games I've watched him play as an LSU Tiger. 22 of 31, 277 yards of offense, 3 passing touchdowns. Didn't get hurt in the first quarter. Came back in the game. Dude is tough as nails. Caden Durham also had a really solid game rushing the ball. Hilton also caught 2 touchdowns for the Tigers as well. Everything was clicking. Even the defense and special teams, where they shut them out in the third and fourth quarters in the second half, is what prevailed them to get the job done in the final night game of the 2024 season for the LSU Tigers. 8-4, not a bad record. I know a lot of people were expecting them to make the college football playoff. A lot of people were saying, hey, a 9-3, 10-2 could probably get you in with the schedule that they got. But 8-4, again, isn't bad, especially for a kind of rebuilding year after losing a lot of pieces on offense, a lot of pieces on that defense. Harold Perkins is out for the year, so that kind of helps their case a little bit as well. However, LSU is going to a bowl game. That is something fans should celebrate, and they got the job done at home against Oklahoma in that one as well. Florida State, that was just kind of a little bit of a blowout there. DJ Lagway played a pretty decent game, if you're asking me. Johnson, the running back for Florida, had 1 touchdown on the day as well. Future's up for Florida. They're recruiting really solid. I'm excited to see what's to come for the Florida Gators in that one. Now, let's talk. This video is going a little bit overboard, but that's okay. Let's talk about Texas going into Texas A&M. The Red River, or the Texas Showdown, is back after, what was it, like 24 years or something that they haven't played. They've played pretty much every game up until 2011, so maybe not that long. But, hey, it is what it is. Texas gets the job done on the road, and they secure an SEC championship berth. Quentin Ewers looks really good. They obviously utilized Arch Manning. He had to have a role in this game, if you're asking me, for them to win. Quentin Ewers, 17 of 28, 218 yards, 1 touchdown on the day. Winner, the running back, had about 170 yards. And then Golden, the wide receiver for Texas, had 75 yards as well. As Texas gets the job done in a first half scoring effort. Second half, very boring game. However, A&M did make it interesting with that pick 6. But ultimately, it was not enough as Texas secures their spot in the SEC championship game. Alright, that is going to be all for this first video of the day. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Do not forget to like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. With that being said, I'm going to hop off, get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. NBA basketball, Monday Night Football, college basketball on tonight. A couple of things to keep an eye on in the sports world if you're asking me. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.